Hey, Perry Peacock here with Wilderness Innovation, and I'm up here going to show you just a little bit using our survival blankets, or you could use whatever you've got. It's a way to lay the foundation for a bed or a mattress when you're in a snowy condition and you don't have much else to work with. Here's a way that you can do this, and it's very simple, doesn't take very long to do, and it can make all the difference in sleeping comfort when you're out in the wintertime like this. So later in the year when the snow gets deeper, I'd have my snowshoes on and I'd come in here and pack some stuff down, but where the snow's not quite as deep, I just like to make sure it's packed down a little bit. So first thing you want to knock off whatever snow's on there. Then you want to go in here and you want to reach back a little ways, and usually you get back into up to maybe finger-sized twigs or whatever that you can just snap off. You don't have to cut these. You don't have to cut these things off with an axe or anything like that. And so all we're doing, and this is juniper. Now some juniper is pretty gangly, and you don't get much out of it when you're getting them. Others is, it's a lot better. Pines are really good usually, but we just start gathering stuff like this, and then we'll haul it back to the site where we're going to be sleeping. All right, so here's a little bit different variety. The boughs are a little softer. Some of your junipers and cedars, the boughs are really sticky and prickly, and if that's the kind you got, then you want to. That's the kind you've got around, then you want to put those on the bottom more against the ground. Try to find some softer stuff like this for on top. But once you start doing a little bit of this, you'll soon find it doesn't take long to gather a bunch of this. A few armloads of boughs like this and we'll be good to go. In a survival situation, you're grabbing whatever you can get as quick as you can get it. The idea is to get as much of the fluffy boughs as possible. And of course, you're going to try not to get wet in the process. But it's just simply like that right there. Now some kind of trees, the boughs are long. You can break off pieces that's 3 feet long that are all, fluffy and all that sort of thing. But you just have to take what you can get. Get 2 or 3 armloads like this, and you're good to go to build a bed. All right, so the way we want to start out is, I've done this a number of ways. Like I've done it where if the snow is deeper, I just jam the stub end of this into the snow at an angle, about a 45-degree angle, and I just work my way from one end to the other. And that works pretty good, but the snow's not that deep right now. So what I'm going to do is I want all my stub ends, the sharp end, facing out, because I don't want to be laying on those. I'm going to be laying these in a herringbone pattern, so they alternate here. Back and forth. So that puts all my sharp stub ends at the outside, and I just keep on working at that like that, and I'll build my layers up however deep they need to be. Okay, so more of that. That one goes that way. This one goes this way. The next one here goes that way. And the next one here goes this way, and so forth. And we just keep working our way down. What this also does, this helps to interleave them so they don't squish all out on you when you get on there. So you see, we just keep working at it here. And the thing is, like I say, I usually put very little at the foot end of me. All right, I've got a pretty good layer down here now. I'm about this thick over where the bulk of my body is going to lay. And that's going to be pretty good, because when I squish it down, it'll be about like this, which that'll insulate me out of the snow. Also keep me from getting wet from the snow, because all this material here is dry, and I've knocked all the snow off and all that sort of thing. So now I'm going to eliminate the wet problem from the snow and the cold problem. A lot of times I use my bag my blanket comes in and stuff it full of stuff for my pillow. So I'm going to take my blanket here, and I'm going to let it overhang out the end there a little bit. One of the mistakes you make, it's common to make, is to put the top of your blanket when it's folded right at the end of your bed. But you actually want your blanket to hang over a little bit, so you can get right inside of it and let it hang over your head on this end. That way if there's a little draft or something, you're not really feeling it come into you. Then when I get down here to the foot end of things, I just do like that. Sometimes I like to fold up the bottom just a little bit, or you can use the shock cords that come with each blanket. There's a pair of them, and you can just gather the bottom and cinch it down like you've seen on some of the other videos. But anyway, so basically there's my bed, and I've done just like this. I don't, typically I don't need much of anything else to go on top of here to be comfortable. All right, so I can just get right in here. I'm not going to take my boots off right now, but I'd normally take my boots right off. But now see, I can get all the way inside of here, and it's nice and comfortable. I wind up not feeling any cold from underneath. Initially for a few minutes you might, because your boughs that you've gathered are cold, but you've knocked all the snow or ice off of them, and what body heat goes through to them will actually warm them up in a few minutes, and actually you'll feel quite comfortable from underneath. So anyway, this is how you can make yourself a bough bed. Insulate you up off the ground, throw a blanket on top, and get right inside of it, and you're comfortable and cozy. Now, one thing about these blankets is they do handle the moisture very well. So your body moisture, your breathing, that sort of thing typically passes through them, and you don't really have a problem with that. Now you see, you get used to this sort of thing, making up a bed like this. You can make a bough mattress to lay on in 10 or 15 minutes, sometimes less, depending on how the material around you, the availability, what kind there is. But you do whatever you can to get some elevation off the snow. You get in here, you set up. This is really comfortable because there's nothing poking me or sticking me. I mean, and with being this thick to start with, I've got a lot of cushion in here, so it's very, very comfortable, and it works really well. And generally, it depends a lot on your conditioning, what you're used to. If you're out in the woods a lot in the wintertime, your body's going to be used to the cold better than if you don't go out very much. So that makes as much difference as anything. And how much does it take to keep me warm? I've been out in the wintertime. A video I made a couple years ago up on top of the summit up there. And I just threw down like I did right here, threw a blanket on, and it was pretty windy, so I threw my poncho over the top as a windbreaker, and it worked very well. And I just had the one blanket, and then I just wore the clothes I had on, and that worked really well. So anyway, this is Perry Peacock with Wilderness Innovation, just showing you how to make a very simple bough mattress or a bough bed and use it with our survival blankets. So be safe, have a good time outdoors, mess around with some of this kind of stuff and get acquainted with it. Experience is your best, is the best thing. The more you try something like this, you get used to what you need personally and how the best way is for things to work personally for you. So take care. See you on the next go round. Once again, Perry Peacock, Wilderness Innovation. So now I'll just shove my blanket down in here. Stuffing the blanket is the best, easiest way to do this, especially for lazy people like me. Zipper down, and we're ready to go.